Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Deepankar and I represent Autodesk. Distinguished Chair, Professor Rao, distinguished speakers on the dais, distinguished academicians and educators in the audience. What I'm going to talk in the next 10 minutes is I'm going to relate it a little bit back into the industry, because the emerging trends in higher education ideally should be derived from the industry trends. The ultimate goal is that if the higher education or the engineering education or higher education, whatever you say, is aligns with the industry trends, and that's where the students or the graduates will become employable. So I'm going to speak a little bit from a design perspective, because that's where Autodesk plays a key part or a key role. So I'm going to start with the challenges and opportunities faced or the global trends affecting design today. And specifically, there are 4 trends that I would like to highlight. So the first of these trends, for some reason, but anyway, the first of this trend is the digital life. So all of us pretty much know today that the world is very much digital. The way students acquire knowledge, the way students learn today is very, very digital. The way we communicate in the industry is very, very digital. People work on the internet, there's YouTube, people use a lot of digital devices, so we're pretty much in a digital life today. And the digital life has primarily paved the way for globalization. And globalization means a lot of things. It means access to global talents, access to newer products and services, and so on and so forth. So that's the second trend affecting design today. And the third trend is the infrastructure management. And if you look at the infrastructure spent in the country today, be in the emerging economies or even the developed economies, if you look at a city like Delhi today, so much of investments is going on in the infrastructure. There are billions and trillions of dollars being spent in the emerging economies in building the infrastructure. And the last trend is pretty much environmentally related. We are talking about climate change, and that's where designs need to be more and more sustainable. So these are the 4 challenges, and apart from that, the education industry is also facing a lot of challenges. There is a lot of competition. I'm not going to get into details due to the paucity of time. So if you look at it in a nutshell, these are challenges that cannot be addressed by a single generation. And this needs newer ideas and newer approach, specifically in the education ecosystem of the country. So these industry trends are actually driving change. And this is what the education ecosystem ideally should drive that change, so that graduates come out skilled with the knowledge and skills of the change or the industry trend, or the skill set that the industry is looking at. So again, this is more design relevant. We are looking at things like newer emerging technologies like building information modeling, digital prototyping, sustainable design, and digital entertainment creation. So if I dwell a little more on building information modeling, like we're looking at so complex design infrastructure projects being done across the country, in countries like India and China. Specifically, if you look at the architecture, engineering, and construction industry, that is where things like building information modeling is a need of the hour. So the education ecosystem, the higher education ecosystem should adapt these technologies, these newer emerging technologies which the industry is looking at. Similarly, if you look at manufacturing as an industry, things like newer technologies, newer emerging technologies like digital prototyping, which is the need of the hour. Like if you look at any manufacturing industry today, if you keep on building physical prototypes, it becomes pretty expensive. So the ideal way is if you can digitally do a prototype and finally build one physical prototype. That's what is expected, and that's what the industry expects. So the concept of things like digital prototyping is what again needs to be adapted by the education ecosystem. I'm not going to dwell more on media and entertainment, but this is a very, very big industry today, and if you look at the animation industry in specific, there's a huge growth potential, and there's a huge requirement of talent in this industry also. So I'm going to stress a little more on manufacturing. If you look at manufacturing in the industry today in India, it's the 3rd largest contributor to to India's GDP after services and agriculture. And industrial machinery and automotive drive a large part of manufacturing. So it's important that, if the graduates who are coming out of the higher education, if they need to be employed in this the conventional manufacturing industry, they need to adapt to the expectations of the industry. And so it's important that higher education trains or gives them the knowledge and skill sets to be employable in the manufacturing industry. Similar is the case in urbanization. If you look at urbanization in India, if you look at India's urban population to increase from 340 million to 500 million in the next 20 years. In the next 10 years, India will have 68 cities with greater than 1 million population, 15 cities with greater than 4 million, and 6 megacities. So this calls for a huge amount of infrastructure building. This calls for a huge amount of talent that is required for urbanization in India. So I'm going to give a little statistics on, if you look at the design market, if you look at the CAD/CAM market, if you look at the number of jobs or number of opportunities that are being available, it's close to about 35 lakhs, 82,000 jobs that are being available in the CAD/CAM design market. So there's a huge opportunity for talent, especially the conventional disciplines of engineering like mechanical, civil, architecture, and related disciplines to get into the jobs, provided they have the requisite skill sets. I'm also going a little bit more into, apart from this emerging technology skill sets, what are the other skill sets the industry actually looks at? It looks at communication skills, and by communication, I mean language skills, writing skills, graphic skills. They should be able to go beyond 3D design, knowledge of emerging technologies, knowledge of cloud technology, knowledge of CAD/CAM and CAE. So these are some of the things that the industry is looking at. So this is something which I think the higher education system should embed in their course curriculum in whatever manner to ensure that the graduates become employable in the two major industries I'm talking of, the civil infrastructure and the mechanical industry. So my last two slides talks about a little bit about my company, what we are doing in education. We are actually working with the students to build the skill sets to foster innovative learning in the academic environment, and thereby bridging the gap between the academia and the industry. And how we are actually doing it is we are looking at associating with the education institutions, the higher education institutions, in offering our technologies, in enabling them to digitalize this curriculum by offering new value-added programs like building information modeling, sustainable design, digital prototyping, and so on and so forth, so that they use these new courses as value-added programs or elective courses to enhance the skill sets of the students. We work with the faculty. We also look at immersive learning like student projects and design competitions, whereby students actually work on on projects, on real-time projects, and thereby making him a global professional with the required knowledge and the skills which the industry is looking at. So basically, I would say we are here to inspire students of all ages to imagine, design, and create a better world. These are my thoughts. Thank you very much.